It all began under the blinding lights of Riyadh, where the crowd roared like a living storm. WWE Crown Jewel 2025 wasn't just another pay-per-view, it was a battlefield of pride, revenge, and destiny. From the very first pyrotechnic explosion, fans could sense something monumental was coming, but no one, not even the most hardcore fan, could have predicted the ending that would leave the entire WWE universe speechless. As the camera panned across thousands of screaming fans waving flags and signs, the voice of Michael Cole echoed through the stadium. Tonight, history will be made. Every match promised chaos. The tension was thicker than ever, especially with the much-anticipated main event. Seth freakin' Rollins vs. Cody Rhodes, round 4 of a rivalry that had defined an era. Earlier in the night, we saw explosive action from the undercard. LA Knight stunned the crowd by defeating Solo Sikoa with a clean BFT, marking his biggest international victory yet. Rhea Ripley retained her Women's World Championship in a brutal triple threat, showcasing once again why she's the nightmare no one can wake up from. Fans couldn't believe what they were seeing. Every bout seemed to push the performers beyond their limits. But the shadow of Rollins and Rhodes hung over every match like a dark prophecy. Backstage segments showed Cody pacing like a caged animal, eyes burning with revenge. Meanwhile, Rollins laughed manically during a promo, calling himself the architect of Cody's destruction. Their history ran deep: broken dreams, shattered tables, and unfinished business. Social media buzzed with tension. "This one's going to end careers," tweeted one fan. Another posted, "If Cody loses tonight, his American nightmare truly ends." The Saudi crowd was electric. From the fireworks to the face-offs, Crown Jewel had transformed from spectacle to storytelling. Every camera angle, every slow-motion replay built toward that final confrontation. You could feel it. Something dark was brewing beneath the surface. Then came the whisper backstage, reports of a special stipulation, quietly added to the main event. No DQ, no countout. Just a fight until someone couldn't stand. As the camera cut to the locker rooms, Rollins smirked into the mirror and muttered, "Tonight, I end the story." The world was about to witness the most personal battle in modern WWE history. The air grew colder, the crowd louder, every heartbeat echoed like a drum roll, because in just a few moments, the architect and the American Nightmare would meet again, and only one would walk out. But no one knew that by the end of the night, one man's legacy would be reborn, and another's would be destroyed forever. The arena went dark. Only a single spotlight remained, flickering through the haze of smoke as the words, "Wrestling has more than one royal family," echoed through the stadium speakers. The crowd erupted. Cody Rhodes, the American Nightmare, walked down the ramp with that cold, determined stare that fans knew all too well. Every step he took carried the weight of his father's legacy, his unfulfilled destiny, and his broken past with Seth Rollins. Fans couldn't believe what they were seeing, one commentator whispered as Cody stood on the turnbuckle soaking in the sea of noise. His white and gold attire gleamed under the lights, representing purity, hope, and vengeance. Tonight, he wasn't here to entertain. He was here to end something. Then the mood shifted. The lights turned crimson. A distorted laugh filled the arena. "Burn it down," blasted through the speakers, and the audience exploded as Seth Rollins emerged in a shimmering black and red robe that looked straight out of a nightmare. His smile was venomous, his eyes wild, like a man ready to destroy not just his opponent but everything he stood for. The Saudi crowd chanted Rollins' name, their voices echoing in rhythm to his arrogant swagger. Rollins fed on the energy, smirking as he pointed at Cody and mouthed, "You'll never finish your story." The tension was unbearable. Even the commentary team fell silent as both men stood nose to nose in the center of the ring, a perfect visual of heaven and hell colliding. The bell rang. Instantly, chaos erupted. Cody launched forward with a furious combination of strikes, cornering Rollins and forcing him outside the ring within seconds. The crowd roared as Cody dove through the ropes, crashing Rollins into the announce table. Sparks flew, literally and metaphorically. "Rhodes is unhinged tonight," screamed Corey Graves. But Rollins wasn't about to play defense. With a sick grin, he grabbed the steel steps and slammed them into Cody's ribs. The echo reverberated through the entire stadium. Fans gasped. Some even covered their mouths as Cody crumpled in pain. Social media went wild. Clips flooded Twitter and TikTok within minutes. Hashtags like GG Crown Jewel Madness and G Rollins vs. Rhodes began trending worldwide. Inside the ring, Rollins took control, taunting Cody with mock Dusty Rhodes jabs and shouting, "This is your hero." Fans booed, but Rollins thrived on it. Every stomp, every scream added to the spectacle. The commentators couldn't contain themselves. "This isn't a wrestling match anymore. This is a war of souls." Still, Cody refused to stay down. Blood trickled from his lip, but his eyes burned brighter. Every punch, every counter told the story of a man fighting not for victory, but for redemption. By the end of the first 10 minutes, both men had destroyed everything around them. Chairs, tables, and maybe even the illusion that this was just entertainment. As the camera zoomed in on Cody's bloodied face, he whispered, "Not tonight." And that's when the first shocking twist of the night happened, one that would flip the entire match on its head. The match had already gone beyond brutality, but what came next left even the most hardened fans in disbelief. Cody staggered to his feet, clutching his ribs, sweat and blood mixing down his face. Seth Rollins circled him like a predator, laughing between heavy breaths. "You can't finish your story if I erase the final chapter," he shouted. The words echoed through the Riyadh dome like thunder. Then, out of nowhere, the crowd gasped. A hooded figure jumped the barricade. Security hesitated, unsure whether it was a fan or part of the chaos. The figure slid into the ring and ripped off the hood, revealing Damian Priest. Fans couldn't believe what they were seeing. The arena exploded into chaos. "What the hell is Priest doing here?" yelled Michael Cole. Only last month, Priest and Rollins had clashed violently on Raw. No one saw this coming. Priest smirked, handed Rollins a steel chair, and mouthed 2 chilling words. "Finish him." The betrayal was stunning, not of Cody, but of logic itself. Rollins raised the chair high, the crowd screaming for mercy. But Cody ducked. He countered with a disaster kick that sent Rollins reeling into the ropes. The stadium erupted. Cody seized the moment, locking eyes with Priest. "Not tonight," he growled before striking Priest with a thunderous right hand that sent him crashing to the mat. The energy was nuclear. Viewers on social media went wild. Clips of Priest's shocking interference flooded every platform. Fans debated frantically. Was this a setup? A Judgment Day alliance? A last-minute twist orchestrated by Rollins himself? Inside the ring, chaos continued. Rollins, desperate and enraged, hit a low blow that dropped Cody instantly. The boos were deafening. Rollins followed up with a curb stomp, but somehow Cody kicked out at 2 3/4. The referee's hand was a hair's breadth from ending it. Rollins lost it. He screamed into the camera, "This isn't supposed to happen. He's supposed to be done." He grabbed Cody's neck and shouted, "You're not your father, Cody. You never will be." But those words lit a fire inside the American nightmare. Cody roared back with a burst of adrenaline. A Cody cutter out of nowhere. The crowd exploded, chanting, "This is awesome," as Cody pointed to the heavens, signaling for the crossroads. He hooked Rollins once, twice, but on the third rotation, Priest yanked the referee out of the ring. The crowd booed furiously, objects flying from the stands. Rollins capitalized, smashing Cody with the chair Priest had left behind. Cody fell motionless. Rollins crawled over him, shouting, "It's over!" A second referee sprinted to the ring. 1, 2. Cody kicked out. The crowd went ballistic. Chants of, "Cody! Cody!" shook the entire dome. Rollins' face twisted with disbelief. And then, as if the night couldn't get more unpredictable, a familiar theme song hit. The crowd screamed in shock because the man walking down that ramp was the last person anyone expected to see at Crown Jewel 2025. The lights cut out. For a few heartbeats, the arena fell into total silence. Then, the opening riff of a song no one had heard in years blasted through the speakers. The Titantron flickered to life, showing a burning throne collapsing into ashes. The crowd gasped, and then erupted. "It can't be! It can't be!" shouted Michael Cole. From behind the curtain stepped Randy Orton. The Saudi crowd exploded like never before. The legend killer was back. After nearly 2 years of injuries, rumors, and speculation, Randy Orton had returned to WWE, and he was walking straight toward the chaos in the ring. Cody Rhodes, lying in a corner, barely lifted his head. The disbelief on his face said it all. Rollins froze mid-motion, his smirk fading into pure panic. "No way," he muttered. Fans couldn't believe what they were seeing. Social media instantly imploded. Within seconds, hashtags like Randy Returns and Crown Jewel Shock were trending worldwide. Clips of Orton's entrance flooded TikTok, some already calling it the greatest return in Crown Jewel history. Orton moved slowly, his presence radiating menace. Every step toward the ring felt cinematic, like time itself had slowed. Rollins shouted for Priest to intercept him, but Orton dropped Priest with a brutal RKO out of nowhere. The crowd lost its mind. Rollins backed into a corner, his bravado gone. "Randy, this isn't your fight," he pleaded. But Orton wasn't listening. The Viper was locked in, his eyes laser-focused on Rollins. Then came the chilling moment. Orton extended his hand to Cody Rhodes. The crowd roared. This was history. Student and mentor, once rivals in legacy, now reunited under the brightest lights in the world. Cody accepted the hand, slowly standing up. Together, they stared down Rollins, who looked like he'd seen a ghost. The next few moments were absolute pandemonium. Cody and Orton unleashed a synchronized assault on Rollins. Punches, chops, and finally a spine-shattering double-team maneuver that sent him flying across the ring. But just when the crowd thought the alliance was sealed, Orton's eyes shifted. That trademark Viper smirk crept across his face. He slithered behind Cody. The commentators screamed, "No way! Not like this!" RKO. Cody was planted in the center of the ring. The arena went from euphoria to shock in seconds. Fans screamed, some even throwing their hands over their heads in disbelief. "Why, Randy? Why?" Cole yelled into the mic. Orton stood tall, expressionless. He looked down at Cody and whispered something the cameras barely caught. "You finish stories. I end them." Then he turned toward Rollins, grabbed him by the wrist, and pulled him over Cody's lifeless body. The referee, dazed but functional, slid into position. 1, 2. Cody kicked out. The entire dome exploded again. Rollins' jaw dropped. Orton's smirk faltered. The crowd chanted, "Cody! Cody!" like thunder, and as both Rollins and Orton stared in disbelief, Cody began to rise again, trembling, defiant, unstoppable. Something in him had snapped, and the final act of this war was about to begin. Cody Rhodes rose slowly, every breath ragged, every muscle trembling. The camera zoomed in on his face, blood dripping, eyes blazing, pure defiance. "He's not done yet," screamed Michael Cole. The Saudi crowd was on its feet, chanting his name with an energy that could be felt through the screen. Rollins backed away, desperate and confused. "Stay down, Cody," he yelled, swinging a wild punch. But Cody caught it, countered, and unleashed a furious barrage of strikes. The arena shook as the American Nightmare came alive like a storm, finally unleashed. Fans couldn't believe what they were seeing. Cody Rhodes, broken and beaten, was tearing apart two of WWE's deadliest men. A clothesline to Rollins, a snap power slam to Orton, a disaster kick that sent Priest crashing through the barricade outside. The crowd erupted into chaos. "This is insane! Cody Rhodes is defying logic," shouted Corey Graves. Social media went wild again. Chicago American Nightmare trended instantly. Fans posted clips captioned, "Cody's redemption arc in real time," and "This man can't die." The energy online mirrored the madness in the ring. Cody grabbed a table from under the apron and slid it into the ring. The audience knew what was coming. Rollins tried to escape, crawling toward the ramp, but Cody dragged him back by the boot. "You wanted to end my story?" Cody screamed. "Now I'll end yours." He hoisted Rollins up, Crossroads. But Cody didn't stop. He lifted him again. Another Crossroads. The crowd counted along. One more time. Cody lifted him a third time, driving Rollins through the table with bone-crushing force. The sound echoed like a gunshot. Rollins was motionless. The referee dropped to the mat. 1, 2. Orton yanked him out again. The boos were deafening. "Randy Orton is destroying Cody's dream all over again," Cole cried. Orton slithered back into the ring, chair in hand, eyes cold. He whispered something to Cody before swinging with all his strength. Cody ducked. RKO attempt. Cody shoved him off and nailed the chair square into Orton's skull. The impact was sickening. Orton dropped. For a moment, silence fell. Cody stood over both fallen men, chest heaving, blood on his knuckles. Then, with a trembling hand, he picked up the microphone from ringside. "This," he said through heavy breaths, "is what finishing the story looks like." The fans exploded again, chanting, "Cody! Cody!" The sound felt like a war drum. Cody turned toward Rollins, crawling on his knees, dazed and half-conscious. He pulled him up for one final Crossroads, but suddenly the lights flickered. The Titantron glitched with static. A distorted laugh filled the air. Not Rollins, not Orton's. The arena fell into confusion. Cody froze mid-motion. On the screen appeared a haunting phrase in red text. "The vision never dies." Then the lights went out completely. When they came back on, Rollins was standing tall behind Cody, steel chair in hand. And what happened next would go down as one of the most shocking endings in WWE history. The crowd's roar turned to confusion. Cody spun around, and there he was. Seth Rollins, drenched in sweat, a steel chair raised high like a guillotine blade. For a moment, time froze. The cameras caught the look in Rollins' eyes. Pure madness. Then the chair came crashing down on Cody's head. The sound was sickening. The stadium gasped as Cody collapsed face first onto the mat. The referee dropped to check on him, but Rollins wasn't done. He smashed the chair again, and again, until it bent in half. Fans couldn't believe what they were seeing. Chants of, "You're a monster," and "This isn't wrestling," filled the air. Rollins stood over Cody's motionless body, breathing heavily, his face twisted with rage and satisfaction. Then, in one of the most haunting visuals in recent WWE history, Rollins fell to his knees beside Cody, whispered, "Now the story's finished," and slowly placed his hand on Cody's chest. The referee hesitated. 1, 2, 3. It was over. The bell rang. "Here is your winner, Seth freakin' Rollins." But there was no celebration, no laughter, no music at first. Just stunned silence from over 40,000 fans in Riyadh. Then, as Rollins staggered to his feet, his theme finally hit. A twisted, remixed version with slower, darker tones. The architect had burned it all down again. Social media imploded. "Crown Jewel just broke me," one fan tweeted. "How could WWE let Cody go out like that?" Others called it storytelling perfection. Within minutes, clips of the final chair shot hit millions of views. Meanwhile, Orton and Priest were gone, vanished through the crowd, leaving Rollins alone in the ring. He stared at the fallen Rhodes, then looked straight into the camera and muttered, "You'll thank me later." It was both chilling and poetic. Medical staff rushed to the ring. Cody's wife, Brandy, appeared at ringside, eyes filled with tears. The commentators went silent except for one line from Michael Cole. This isn't the ending anyone wanted. As Cody was stretchered out, the crowd stood and applauded him. The chants began softly, then grew louder. "Thank you, Cody." It was heartbreaking and beautiful all at once. From an analysis standpoint, this wasn't just a match. It was performance art, a perfect blend of storytelling, emotion, and chaos. Rollins' heel persona reached God-tier status tonight. Cody's resilience proved why he's one of the greatest babyfaces of this generation. As the final camera shot faded, Cody raised one bloody hand from the stretcher, silent, defiant, unfinished. Because maybe, just maybe, this story isn't over, and that's how Seth Rollins destroyed Cody Rhodes, but might have created a legend in the process.